You are listening to Eat Meat Sparingly, a word of wisdom podcast. I am your host, Ali Essig. I want to start out today's episode talking about my dear friend, Laura. Laura and I have been friends for 13, 14 years, and she has seen my entire journey. She was there when my dad passed away. She was actually one of my best friends who was there for me. And I was there for her when her dad passed away of colon cancer. And she was there when my husband had his stroke, and she saw that whole thing. And then when we went plant-based afterwards, and then ironically, her husband actually had a stroke. It was more of a mini stroke, but it made her realize that they need to focus a little bit more on eating healthier. So of course, since she's one of my best friends, I was like, just join my program. I'll give it to you for free. And she came, she attended, and kind of stopped going halfway through because I've definitely found this to be true. When you pay for something, you pay attention. When you don't pay for something and someone just gives it to you, you're like, oh, that's cool, but you don't necessarily change. And so honestly, it's also hard. You have to have your whole family on board, and they tried a few recipes here and there, but ultimately it's just hard. She's a stepmom. This is her second marriage. This is her husband's second marriage. They're trying to manage her husband's first 3 kids and then their 2 kids together. And lately they have even renovated their home. So on top of all that, plus she's in her 40s, she's seeing weight gain, and she's like, I'm overwhelmed. I know we need to eat healthier, especially with my family history. She just had her blood work done. She has elevated LDL cholesterol, and she's like, I need to do something. I want to be able to lose this weight, and I want to do it in a healthy way, but I can't go completely plant-based. So Ali, what do I do? She's like, I've been dying to talk to you. She showed me her blood work, and it was so helpful because sometimes, I want to tell people all the things, but sometimes we just need baby steps, and we need the most return on investment when it comes to food. And so today's episode is all about that return on investment. What is the one thing you can do? The one thing you can do, the one tiny change, just make it as simple and as easy as possible. What is the diet that is the easiest and the healthiest that actually gets you real results, and not just weight loss temporarily? This is long-term results. This is better LDL cholesterol. This is better digestion. This is all of the things. And so I gave her this plan, and I'm about to give it to you. Now, it's so simple. It's like ridiculously simple. And I promise you, the best part about this is that no one else in your family has to change, because all you are doing is adding 1 can of beans a day to your diet. Don't worry about everyone else, just your diet. Now, ideally, you'll want to do this for breakfast just because it's one and done. Like you eat a can of beans for breakfast and you're done. Plus, it's easier on your system digestion wise. So you produce less gas and bloating for most people if you don't have a lot of other food mixed in there trying to digest at the same time. But it doesn't have to be breakfast. You can do this for lunch. You can do it for dinner. You could even space it out. In fact, I just recently recorded a YouTube video that went live on Saturday that explained this whole thing and showed 5 different recipes for breakfast. And it was interesting to read the comments because I had no idea like this was a legit thing. Like people are doing this. And there's another YouTuber called Getting Healthy with Stacia that how she does it is just to eat a half a cup of beans before each meal. And then after dinner or whatever it is, like try to eat a cup in the morning. And I think she was just eating like a half a cup before lunch, a half cup before dinner, and just eating whatever else they were eating as their family. I've seen other influencers show different methods. You don't even have to go completely plant-based. Like that is the key. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to white knuckle it. And that's the best part. You don't have to cut carbs. This is not a cleanse. This is not tracking calories. This is not tracking macros. This is not going hungry. And it's really weight loss that minimizes your cravings and improves your health. The thing about the weight loss medications right now is there are risks. And this is the most natural way that you can get a similar result. But here's the thing, you don't get those same risks. The risks are possibly gas and bloating at first until your gut gets used to it, right? But you're not getting all these other risks that you would get on these weight loss medications. Like it's just worth it, especially for those people who've been told they should go on the medications, but you're wanting to do like one last ditch effort. This is it. This is it. Why adding to your diet is what helps people prevent burnout. It helps people so they don't fail. When we're trying to subtract and restrict, we just get this decision fatigue. It's so hard. And this is just one daily anchor habit. That's all it is. And because you're adding that full can of beans, in 1 can of beans, there's about 20 to 25 grams of fiber, which means your one daily habit you make sure you're getting every day is your fiber goals. And if you're getting your fiber goals, just your minimal fiber requirements, you are better off than 95% of Americans. 95% of Americans. This also works because it's sustainable. It is cheap. It is shelf stable. It is family friendly. It's portable. You can take a can of beans wherever you want. In fact, I was inspired by Dr. Cyrus Kambata, who, when we went on the vegan cruise, like you would think we're going on a vegan cruise, like you don't need to bring your own food, right? Nope, not them. They brought, him and his wife brought cans of beans, literally. And in their little room, they had cans of beans because this is part of his diet. This is how he gets his protein, but keeps his saturated fat low, especially for someone who is a type 1 diabetic. This works for diabetes. This works for blood sugar control. And it is amazing. So really, pulses, they have to be pulses like beans, lentils, chickpeas. Like they're repeatedly linked to modest weight loss, even without intentional calorie restriction. And the reason why is because of the satiety, that it just naturally displaces other foods because you're so full, just like those weight loss drugs. But you do it naturally with food. And there is a major systematic meta-analysis that shows daily pulse intake leads to modest weight loss, even when diets weren't designed to be calorie restricted. Isn't that amazing? That even just adding beans, like you're not even designing your diet to restrict your calories, to go lower in calories, but just adding beans will lead to modest weight loss. Modest weight loss. Now, is this a dramatic keto style weight loss? No, this is like a half a pound a week weight loss. But hey, it's weight loss and you're not having to restrict any calories. Now, beans are higher in fiber and they also have a decent amount of protein. And when you put those two together, that is what will help naturally create GLP-1, right? That high fiber, that decent amount of protein together. And they have low energy density. So you feel full longer and you don't need willpower. That's the best thing. Here's the thing. You do not need willpower if hunger is handled. Beans are not necessarily like a fat burning food, but they are a hunger calming food. They're there for you to calm your hunger. And when that happens, so what everyone says about the weight loss medications is the food noise disappears. And guess what? You can do this a lot cheaper and a lot healthier if you're just prioritizing eating a can of beans, if that's all you can do. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about the blood sugar and insulin response and why beans are truly a metabolic cheat code. They have, number one, soluble fiber and resistant starch. These two are both incredibly beneficial. Usually you get like one or the other, but the fact that beans have both really helps to slow digestion, really helps to help you have smaller glucose spikes. In fact, they found and even called it the lentil effect. And the lentil effect is where when you eat lentils or beans, any type of beans, that for the next 24 hours, you end up having smaller glucose spikes in whatever else you end up eating because it has slowed down your digestion. So it helps for longer than just that meal alone. A second thing that really helps with the blood sugar and the insulin is the fermentation in the colon. So these beans ferment and they produce what's called short chain fatty acids that support insulin sensitivity. So a simple explanation is your gut bacteria make compounds that help your metabolism work better. And they make these specific compounds when you specifically eat fiber. And guess what? One of the best sources of fiber is beans. It really is. They work amazingly at producing those short chain fatty acids. You don't need to take a fiber supplement because not only does it have the fiber, but it also has all these antioxidants from the colors of the beans and all these other nutrients. And the fact that the beans have a kind of a harder layer and then inside it's a little softer, that it saves some of that. I mean, you see it when you go to the bathroom, kind of like when you eat corn, like the pieces of corn, right? That is really great for your lower colon, like down further. Beans are so good for you. But just to even prove it even further, there is a specific study that really studied canned navy beans. It was this canned navy bean intervention where they had participants add 5 cups of canned navy beans for 4 weeks. And they compared it to another group where they had them restrict calories, right? And they found that those who added the 5 cups of beans for 4 weeks not only lost weight, just like the other group, but they had one other benefit. They were able to reduce a lot of their metabolic risk factors that are associated with obesity. And there was a trend toward improved glucose response, AKA they had lower cholesterol levels and better blood sugar regulation. Beans are amazing. And when you eat beans the first thing of the day, what happens is it lowers your cravings, right? So you don't have so many cravings. You are less likely to grab a snack later on because you're just not quite satisfied. And you just feel fuller longer. Now, let's talk a little bit more about your LDL cholesterol and your heart health, which really is the strongest quick win when it comes to beans. So there's a lot of mechanisms that why beans in particular aren't just going to help you with weight loss. And this is where I think people, they miss the forest for the trees. We're trying to lose weight. And we did that when my husband was losing weight after the twin baby weight, right? We went on a high protein, macro based plan, and it was actually healthier than how we had been eating. So I like to give it credit, like it really was a decent diet, but it didn't reduce his risk of stroke. We lost weight, but he still had a stroke. And this is why I love beans, because we assume if you just lose weight, their LDL cholesterol will improve. And for some people, it does. It totally does, but it doesn't always happen that way. And so most people who love the carnivore or keto lifestyle, they then say, oh, cholesterol doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah. No, it still does. It's just that the way that you love to eat doesn't actually lower your cholesterol. So you're trying to justify it. But if you look at all of the research, cholesterol matters. It's not just triglycerides, because that's what they'll say. Triglycerides are the thing that matters. Triglycerides are the thing that increases everything. It doesn't matter because beans help with both. But specifically when it comes to cholesterol, beans have soluble fiber. The reason why people can lose weight and not improve their cholesterol is because they're not eating enough fiber. They're not eating enough fiber, and that's soluble fiber, which binds bile acids. And the body pulls cholesterol from the blood to make more bile. And so that's why when you eat more soluble fiber, you just naturally are going to be able to reduce your LDL cholesterol because your body needs cholesterol to make more bile. So when you go in the bathroom more, that's what happens. The other thing is just the natural displacement. Beans crowd out other high saturated fat foods naturally. You're just fuller. You're not going to grab that cheese as a snack, right? You're not going to eat nuts, which is what a lot of other people do. You're not going to eat things that may be preventing your weight loss because you're just more satiated. It just naturally is going to crowd out anything else, and especially meat. Let's be honest. If you're eating a can of beans every single day, you're probably not going to feel like you need all of that chicken or that ground beef or whatever it is that you're eating for dinner. Now, there were randomized trials with canned beans and multiple varieties of food that showed that 1 cup a day, just 1 cup a day. So even if you can't quite hit 2 cups a day or 1 full can a day, but even just 1 can a day, half of a can, I should say. So 1 cup a day decreases total and LDL cholesterol in adults with elevated LDL. So all these randomized trials show that it doesn't even matter what type of variety of beans, just 1 cup a day can lower your LDL cholesterol. There's a meta-analysis of trials of pulses and lipids to find out what happens. And the evidence supports that pulses improve dyslipidemia, including LDL. AKA it helps to lower your LDL. And another in a 2024 study compared beans versus peas and found that beans lowered LDL about 5% over 6 weeks in adults with moderately elevated LDL. 5%. It's not like this miracle drug like a statin, right? I'm not going to say this is the exact same thing as a statin, and I'm not going to say this exact same thing as the weight loss medications, but it is as close as you can get in nature. It really is. And it works, and it's easy, and it's cheap, and there's no negative side effect. So even if your LDL is a concern, beans are one of the most evidence-backed additions that you can make. I'm going to say that again for those in the back. If your LDL is a concern, beans are one of the most evidence-backed additions you can make. It's for this reason that they have found that those in the blue zones, like they eat a ton of beans, right? They're eating about a cup of beans a day. They're living longer lives. And they've even found that those on average who eat at least a cup of beans a day live 4 years longer than those who don't, because beans are going to help improve your lifespan because it helps with not only your weight, but with those other deeper numbers inside your body that matter. Your cholesterol, your triglycerides, your blood sugar regulation. It doesn't even matter what side you'll hear the keto people be like, you need blood sugar regulation. Guess what? It does that too. Like they're amazing. They really are so good for you. And they've gotten a really bad rap over time because you do have to kind of train your gut to handle them. But once you do, they're actually incredibly good for your gut health. Beans can change the game when it comes to your gut health. They get this rap of being like, oh, my body can't handle beans. Like I can't do beans. My body doesn't like beans. I'm like, no. You need to train your gut. Beans feed the beneficial gut microbes. Beans have these prebiotic fibers that are so good for your gut microbiome. Again, it produces short chain fatty acids. When your body produces short chain fatty acids, it helps you have a better gut barrier. One of the short chain fatty acids is butyrate. So you have acetate, butyrate, and propionate. And butyrate is one of them that will help to strengthen your gut lining, to give you that better gut barrier, to help reduce inflammation and just regulate inflammation in general. That's what beans do. They don't cause inflammation. We're looking at the smoke, not at the fire. We need to heal your gut, and then you'll see that beans can actually be part of that. But there is an adjustment period. Beans, they're good for your heart, but they may make you fart at first. At first, it's normal. Gas is normal at first, but you can train your gut. And there's a lot of tips and tricks on how to reduce bloating. So let's talk about it. First of all, if you try this out, if you eat a whole can, you're like, oh, that was terrible. My body cannot handle it. Instead, start with just half of a can a day. So that's a cup. Because as we mentioned in all of these studies, even if you can just get 5 cups a week added to your diet, like you will see all of these benefits that we talked about. So minimum, at least 5 cups a week, right? Which is about half a can a day. And do that at first, and then slowly start to increase. You want to make sure that you're rinsing your canned beans thoroughly, and that's really going to help. So rinse them thoroughly and choose easier starter beans. If you go straight for the kidney beans, you're probably going to have gas. Your body can handle lentils, chickpeas, and black beans often a lot easier than pinto beans and kidney beans and some of those other beans, refried beans, any of that. And so those will be a little bit easier. Also, if you cook your beans from scratch, you can soak them first. Let them sit overnight, soak them. Even if they start to sprout, that's even better. So you can soak them, rinse it, and then let them kind of sit in your strainer, and then they'll start to sprout, and that really reduces the amount of gas. That's too much work for me though, honestly. That's a lot of work, so I don't even try. Another really quick tip is you can put in some seaweed or any type of seaweed type food while you cook your beans in your Instant Pot, because beans are missing specific digestive enzymes that greens and seaweed have. So when you cook your beans with the seaweed, then it gives those digestive enzymes, which is less likely to give you gas. But you can also do it by pairing your beans with greens when you eat them, your bean and your green. When we first went plant-based, that was it. Like I remember thinking, okay, instead of a meat, or instead of eating meat, chicken or beef, I'm going to have a bean and a green. Like it really helped me kind of shape those meals and helped to adjust to the gas. And so another thing is to add digestive helps. If you feel like you can use Beano at first, just make sure you're eating it with the beans. You have to do it at the same time. I always forgot to do that at first when I went plant-based, but I did buy it. I just never used it. And so you can at first buy something like Beano or like the off-market brand. Another thing is to chew your beans really, really well. Just chew. Just take the time to chew. And that will help a lot. A lot of the digestion, remember, it starts in the mouth. So start chewing more, taking more time. And honestly, you're going to feel a lot fuller if you do it. And it's just going to help. And walking after meals, just going for a short walk, not only will help with your blood sugar regulation, but it will help with digestion as things just kind of move along. When you heat beans, that makes it a little bit easier. And even when you cook beans in your Instant Pot, you can add a little pinch of baking soda, a pinch though. I have added like a teaspoon before. When I did the release on my Instant Pot, it like exploded. There was so much like water and steam that it went all the way up to the ceiling and stained my ceiling. Don't worry, my husband actually just finally cleaned it. Like yesterday. That happened like months ago too. Every time I look up at the ceiling, I'm like, oh crap, I need to get to that. So be careful, not too much baking soda, right? Just a pinch. And that really can help, right? Consistency matters. And then if you accidentally overdo it, I highly suggest getting fennel seeds and just having fennel seeds around. You probably already have them in your spice drawer, and then just pull them out and chew on fennel seeds. And that will help reduce any cramping that you may be feeling because of gas. Usually it could be because you're trying to hold the gas in, but fennel seeds like instantly definitely help release cramping in your gut. Also, if you add cumin to your beans, cumin will help with the digestion. Cumin's a great spice for that. And if you even just drink peppermint tea at night, that can help calm your muscles, calm your gut. There's so many different things that can help, but the consistency matters. If you really do want to train your gut, you have to be consistent. You can't just start for 3 days and then be like, never mind, I give up. That's not going to help adapt. Just like working out in the gym, when you work out, you have to be consistent to see results. And that's the same thing with your gut microbiome. You have to be consistent. I could eat all the black beans I want all day long, and I am not going to get gas. That's the best part. For me, lentils, chickpeas, black beans are so good. But I personally rarely eat kidney beans. So when I eat kidney beans, I may feel it too. Each different type of bean needs to get adjusted to your body, and you need to eat it consistently in order for you not to have those side effects. So keep that in mind too. It's not just all beans, it's every type of bean needs some time to adjust. Now, why this works for real people, why 1 can of beans a day works for real people. Number 1, it's a built-in portion. You don't have to weigh, you don't have to measure, you just have that can. And it's like an easy check off, like, I did it. And it's easy to keep at work or in the pantry or in the car if you're traveling, right? Not that I would ever really just open up a can of beans and eat it. Although Dr. Cyrus Kambata, that's what he does every day, just opens up a can of chickpeas and eats them straight from the can. I like to add, I don't know, some tomatoes and cucumbers to the chickpeas, along with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, oregano, with some squeeze of a lemon. And honestly, it's so good. So good. That's my favorite chickpea salad. The recipe is on my blog if you want to check it out, but there's so many different ways that you can do it. It works for families too. You can honestly just add beans to what your family's already eating. You can make everyone just eat more beans without them even realizing it, or you can just add a half a cup of beans to your lunch and to your dinner and to your breakfast. Now, again, if all you do is one thing, let this be the thing. If all you're doing is one thing, because this is the thing with the biggest return on investment. It's the biggest ROI. So why not do the thing that knock that big domino down and get all of the benefits? While I love the potato diet, the thing about the bean diet is, yes, potatoes help you stay satiated. Yes, they are very low in calories. But potatoes, while they have more of the perfect combination of everything you need in your body, they don't have a lot of protein. And I have seen clients where they've been on the potato and vegetable diet for a long time and their hair starts to fall out and their nails become brittle, where the bean diet doesn't have those side effects. Now, of course, you're going to mix it up with other foods. It's only one meal a day. Like, it's not every single meal. It's easier to follow, it's doable, and you're getting plenty of protein from that meal. You're not missing out on anything. And so this is doable. Again, on my last YouTube video, I showed all of these recipes for breakfast. I have another YouTube video coming out towards the end of the month that I just recorded today that shows a bunch of different lunch recipes. And you could even do it for dinner too, if that works best. But what I love about breakfast or lunch is your whole family doesn't have to do it. Your whole family doesn't have to eat this way, but it can be simple. Like for breakfast, I love a chickpea smoothie where you just add a can of chickpeas with some plant milk, with some peanut butter powder and some cocoa powder and a little bit of maple syrup. And there you go. You have a delicious smoothie. You can also just do beans and broth for lunch, like super simple, or that chickpea salad that I talked about, or even just an actual salad. I'm putting a whole can of beans on an actual salad. That's how we went plant-based. That's actually how Dr. Furman suggests going to plant-based, which is the plan that we followed after my husband's stroke, is to eat a humongous salad for lunch with a ton of beans. And when you do that, like you are so full. Now, you do want to make sure that you're minimizing the high fat dressings. Again, we're trying not to go over 600 calories in this meal, this 1 can of bean meal that you're eating, because I have seen other people make the mistake of like, okay, I just need to eat a can of beans. So let me turn these into bean cookies. And then before you know it, that's like 1,000 calories. And you can't have bean cookies and make that count unless you're having like 2, maybe 3 cookies a day, along with the other beans that you had for breakfast or for lunch. Yeah, you can make soups, you can make chilies, you can make so many things. There's so many recipes that are already on my blog or that you can find. But today, the purpose of this really is just to convince you of why you should do that. And just to repeat, there's really the top 10 reasons. Here are the top 10 reasons why you should follow this 1 can of bean diet. Number one, you will feel more full. That magical fiber and protein mix. Number two, this will reduce your overall cravings. Number three, this will help you have better post-meal blood sugar control for 24 hours. For 24 hours. Number four, better insulin sensitivity signals over time. Like this is just so good for your metabolism. Number five, your LDL cholesterol will lower. It helps support lowering that LDL cholesterol. Number six, this improves your gut microbiome and helps you be more regular in those bowels, right? A little easier to go to the bathroom. Number seven, this is easier weight management without restriction. You don't have to white knuckle anything. You don't even have to restrict anything. All it is adding to your current diet. Number eight, this is affordable and very accessible for everyone. Everyone. A can of beans can be less than $1 a day. Plus, you're saving money because then you're not eating other foods, right? It's not like it's costing you more with that $1 a day. It's actually saving you money on all of the other money you would have spent on food. Number nine, it has a higher micronutrient density. Beans are a great source of folate, potassium, magnesium, iron, all of those things. Now, of course, each bean has a different variety, but it's not only great in those macronutrients, but also in the micronutrients, which is missing from a lot of animal products like the folate and potassium and magnesium. And number 10, it is a great add-on habit that naturally crowds out ultra-processed foods. We really want to reduce ultra-processed foods. I don't want you reaching for the chips anymore or reaching for just that quick sugary treat. And when you eat more beans, it just takes out that food noise. And I would like to say an extra one is it helps you sleep better. When you are more full and satiated, you sleep better. There's so many benefits to this. It's like, why not? Why not just try this for 14 days? Don't change anything else. You don't have to track anything. And if you just try this, just notice your cravings, notice your energy, notice your digestion, notice your weight, and notice how your clothes. Now, I'm making this ridiculously simple inside the Plant-Wise Collective. I'm helping people walk through this change with not only eating the Plant-Wise plate, which I always preach. So we're going to eat the Plant-Wise plate. If you're not eating your can of bean meal, then your other meals should include the Plant-Wise plate if you can. But in general, I want to make this simple and easy. This isn't trendy, right? This isn't just trendy. It's really backed by clinical research. It is backed by meta-analysis, randomized trials that show that adding pulses like beans and chickpeas and lentils led to modest weight loss, even when people weren't trying to cut calories. And we have these intervention studies where people added beans and saw improvements in their cardiometabolic markers. Remember that canned navy bean study where participants had added 5 cups per week and it reduced the metabolic risk factors associated with obesity and signals of improved glucose response. And of course, on the heart side, randomized trials show that eating about a cup of canned beans daily can lower LDL cholesterol in people who start out elevated. So if you can't do the full can, at least stick to the cup, okay? Let your gut adjust over time. Stick that cup because you're still going to see all the benefits. I promise. Try it out. I can't wait for you to try it out. Let me know what you think. This can be simple. This can be easy, and this can be delicious. Just check out all the recipes on my website or check out my YouTube channel, Plant-Wise, so that you can learn more. And the best part is, honestly, these meals take 5 minutes to put together. 5 minutes. You're saving time, you're saving money, and you're losing weight. What can be better? Teach your friends, share this with a friend, have them do it with you. Honestly, like when you do these with a friend, it makes it so much better. My friend Laura is like, I'm going to be held accountable. She's so excited about this. She's already started it. They even made bean brownies with their family for dessert because she's like, I haven't had any beans today. And so, you don't have to be perfect at it. Remember, your floor goal, your minimum goal is at least 5 cups of beans a week. But ideally, if you really want the most benefits, just try for that can of beans a day. Okay, you've got this. I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Eat Meat Sparingly, a Word of Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Ali Essig. And if you need more help and support with transitioning to eating more plants so you can lose weight and improve your gut health and just reduce your risk of chronic disease, then make sure to check out my Plant-Wise membership. That's PLANTWHYS, because I like to teach the why behind eating more plants. But if all you need is just a couple more delicious recipes that feed your family and everyone loves, and not to mention super simple and easy, then make sure to check out my YouTube channel, which is also Plant-Wise, PLANTWHYS. Hope to see you there.